All right. So when did you were a bit sniffy last week, if I remember correctly, weren't you? You were very achy.
Yeah. So my throat started to hurt on Sunday, and I've not felt. I got worse, and then I thought, oh, my skin was starting to hurt, and I thought I was going to come down with something. But I've just been taking tablets, and I felt better yesterday, and today actually I feel a lot better than I did do earlier this week. Yeah. But I'm still off it, you know.
Yeah. Yes. Well, you do know that this work can trigger this sort of thing, don't you?
I think you've mentioned it before, yeah. And Jonathan's just been and said there's a bug going around, because I wondered whether or not it was to do with the fact that the weather had been so glorious. Now it's freezing cold again, but
yeah. In fact, I arrived here yesterday, and last night it was snowing, but not properly. This morning, hang on, I don't know if you would be able to see it, but I took a photo to post on my YouTube page, and this is what it looks like here.
Just a bit. Oh wow! Yeah, I've forgotten you were in Norway.
Yeah, I'm in the middle. South central in Trondheim.
That's a shock.
Yes, but it's not unusual for it to snow in May.
Right. Well,
Independence Day is on the 17th.
Right.
Everybody's hoping that it stops snowing by then, because it puts a serious dampener on things. But it's not uncommon.
So when did you arrive?
About 7 o'clock last night, I think, and then we went food shopping, and then we came home, and I was just exhausted.
Yeah, but you were, yeah.
Long day. So I'm still not 100% today either. So my head I'm really struggling with my head to get it focused. But anyway.
Right. So did you get my email that I'd sorted everything?
I did, and thank you very, very much. It's really helped. I've put some money on my card today, so I will be able to start using it shortly. So that's brilliant. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so I know that you weren't feeling very well this week. How did it affect your work? Particularly, I know Tina was back and you had your one-to-one with her.
Well, I did have a catch-up session with her. I didn't have a one-to-one. That's next week. But I got myself I got myself prepared that I was going to have a conversation about whether or not there was going to be an income generation director post. And actually it turned out her thinking's moved on as well. So I just laid out what I saw as the issues, what I saw as the risks, and why we needed that post. And then we agreed that a development plan for the head of fundraising was still not necessarily totally aligned about whether or not 9 months is going to be enough of a time for her, or 12 months. So I kept saying 12, she said 9. And I made that into a bit of a joke. I said, well, trying to give somebody the experience of 32 years in 9 months is going to be a tall order. But the compromise that we arrived at was that we'd see how it went. And actually, even if Lucy does take over the reins in 9 or 12 months, there'll probably be some support services required from me while she beds herself in. So I think, sorry, I'm not. I think that was a good compromise to reach. We talked about the fact that she hasn't got. We talked about what the issues might be in terms of the other people that would report into her. So I made it clear that retail, first of all, it couldn't report into finance. That didn't make sense, and she accepted that. And I said, and then retail reporting into a director of income generation who has been Jonathan's peer rather than his line manager. Likewise with PR and marketing, I think that we'll need to look at that a little bit more. And certainly Lucy hasn't got any experience of retail, so I'm just thinking about what she needs to do so she's got some credibility in that area. As far as the PR and marketing is concerned, Tina was up for trying to take the whole lot on, and I said I didn't think that would work, so I broke it into strategic stuff and operational stuff. So the operational would sit with the income generation and marketing director, and she agreed with that. And likewise, we have to have a conversation with Candy, who's the head, about the difference between Lucy being her peer and Lucy being her line manager, because there's a bit of, Candy's already spoken to me about the fact that she doesn't necessarily always feel as if Lucy is inclusive. So it's better than it was. There's a lot of work to do.
But I'm really very interested, because from what you've told me, it sounds as though you had an extremely productive meeting, and I'm wondering how much you think your ability to prepare for a meeting, so that you came to it very clear and know it didn't matter that Tina had moved on in her thinking, you were still able to make contributions that seem to me to be, from what I've understood of it, to have been very, very constructive and positive and helpful.
One of the things that Tina said to me yesterday was that she thought I was very good at sticking to my guns if I really believed in something. And I said to her that I'm not answering your question directly, but I will get to it. So she came out and asked me straight away about whether or not I would extend my contract. And I actually said to her, I need to understand a more holistic picture about what we're going to be doing. I don't want to be signing up to something that I think ultimately will present a risk to the organisation. So that's why I talked about what was going to happen with the income generation role itself, and then that there was going to be one, and then how everybody else would fit into that jigsaw. Because one of the things that was sticking with me was, if Tina was not wanting to replace the role of income generation director, if she just wanted to go down the fundraising and marketing director's role, there's an issue for me about whether or not that didn't sit well with my own values, because I don't think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So that's what I didn't want to get that across like I was throwing my toys out of my pram, and I wouldn't do something if she didn't do it all my way. But I wanted her to understand how I looked at it holistically, and that it was really necessary to talk about all those things and how the jigsaw might fit together. So I think that being prepared, and actually having been preparing myself just talking it through both with you and with another colleague who's a director of income generation, it just confirmed in my own mind that what I was talking about was the right thing to be doing. She actually said that she'd had a conversation with Niels, the chairman, who said that Lucy should be able to take on the role in 6 months, and if she couldn't do that, she wasn't capable of the job. And I just said, well, I'm sorry, but I think that is a totally naive thing to say. I didn't say stupid, but I think it's a stupid thing. We talked about, the risk to the organisation of the strategy that we've agreed on, but the positives as well in terms of team morale and energy and all of the rest of it. But I was really pleased actually that she was mindful of, or she accepted that there were some risks attached to both people and to the strategy itself, but that she'd moved her thinking. And she said, that sometimes I talk out loud and it's not necessarily a rounded thought. I said, oh yes, you send people off down rabbit holes with that. But I said, I just want you to hear again, this is where I'm at and this is what I genuinely think is the right thing to do for the organisation. So I suppose the compromise within that for me was the length of time it's going to take to develop Lucy, and also I made it clear to Tina that excuse me, 12 months didn't necessarily mean that she would be absolutely game ready, which is where this other thing came in about, well, maybe there's ongoing support needed there.
You've got some water.
I haven't actually. I'm just going to go and get some.